It's been an incredibly productive few months here on the property. From water harvesting upgrades to expanding our apiary and everything in between. So let's dive into what we've been up to. Back in March and April, we kicked off by upgrading our water harvesting system. We replaced the old black barrels in the chicken coop with a 600 litre polymaster tank. The reason for the replacement was that we could not confirm what the barrels had been used for before purchasing them. It was not until we had installed them that it dawned on us that that was an issue. So for peace of mind, we replaced them. After some digging and repositioning, we got everything set up, ensuring all overflow would channel into our silver tank.
So the moment of truth. I fill the gutter, it's going to fill hopefully into this tank and then overflow down and under the ground and then into this silver tank.
Now it's super easy to provide water for our chickens and surrounding plants. Up next, after levelling the ground, we installed a 1,000 litre green tank north of the veggie garden.
Two more cockroaches, 3 on the run.
Be better with water in it. That'll give us access to water up here.
And used the excess soil to fill in a low point in the nature strip. Borrowing a rotary hoe from Kate's school, we dug a trench for the 19mm poly pipe and fitted it to the tank.
And we'll fill up the green tank.
From there we created a passive dripper system for the fruit trees. A little DIY magic with a milk container helped close off the old overflow, giving us a handy visual of when the tank is full. It is very satisfying seeing our tanks receive some bonus water due to condensation over the cold nights. Our biggest project, installing dripper irrigation for the veggie beds. After purchasing everything, including an external pump, and talking with the supplier, we found out that a 1-inch pipe was the way to go. We trenched through the hard clay. What spurred us on was knowing that eventually we would not have to do much hand watering in the future. In early May, we got an unexpected gift, 40mm of rain. This rain filled our tanks as well as our newly dug trenches. The silver lining, though, was that it made pushing the pegs into the clay holding down the pipe a lot easier. All of this just in time for our first real harvest of delicious navel oranges.
We've finally got some oranges.
For the rest of May and early June, we finished irrigating up until they reached the top of each bed.
I've installed the pump. What we've got is a outlet here that will eventually water this area, but I haven't done that part yet. So the pipe goes out and goes off the main line into all the veggie gardens. It goes up into the green tank as well as all of the citrus. So I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to test, see if there are any leaks. Here we go. I'm so glad it turned off because it's supposed to leak. Okay, it was pouring out of the side of there, so I need to fix that. Yeah, that's leaking big time.
We completed the pump installation, testing it under pressure and sorting out any leaks along the way. With the pump, we can now more efficiently water our fruit trees. Taking some time off from my day job to spend more time in the garden allowed me to refocus and realize that the kitchen garden needed some attention and was more of a priority. We're pausing work on the veggie garden for now to work on irrigating and replacing the wicking beds in the kitchen garden, which is closer to the home. Once that's squared away, we'll expand back out. April saw the first batch of mealworm frass packed and ready for sale. We've got them in a couple of local shops and are selling at markets and online. One of the latest toys is a 9-tier sifter for managing the mealworms. We had a go with it and it looks promising to speed up the sifting process. After removing a gum tree from our property that was pushed tight against the fence, it allowed us to extend the food forest just a little bit. So we spent some time focusing on building the soil in this area by spreading a thick layer of newspaper over the ground to suppress the grass and weeds, and adding coffee grounds, alpaca manure, wood ash, grass clippings, shredded paper, and more coffee and ash, followed by number ones and water, then toilet rolls, cardboard, more alpaca manure, grass clippings, and shredded paper, and finally a layer of straw. Mid-May through June was all about sheet mulching and chop and drop for the rest of the food forest. We started the first round of mulching by sifting the ash from our wood fire.
Fine ash. That's a good source of potassium. I lay it through compost and give it to the worms. If we have excess, I also put that, sprinkle it through the food forest.
Next, we collected cold compost from around the property and spread it around the fruit trees in the food forest. I repositioned the compost bins to refill them over the next 12 months. We then added mealworm frass, coffee grounds, shredded paper and grass clippings, as well as prunings from the natives along our nature strip that have grown enough now that they need an annual prune. By midwinter, it was time to do the chop and drop, which is always a little bittersweet, as it's great to see all the growth of the previous year, but it is a little sad cutting it back. However, it is great adding biomass to the ground.
Some of the trees I'm not going to touch at all. Others, like the salt bush, I'm going to cut right back. I'm trying to create some form of a canopy with the tree lucerne. I'm not sure how successful it's going to be, but so it's probably going to take a bit of time to chop and drop all this. So we'll get in here and clear some of these branches that are hanging over this area. So we might end up with a little bit of firewood, a heap of kindling, and plenty of biomass for chop and drop. So
Hey, buddy.
Dad, we've been looking for you.
Here I am.
You were not in your office.
No, I'm out in this office.
Yeah, your office.
This is my office now.
That's not your office. That's your food forest.
Yeah, that's right. There was a lot that wasn't cut back in the previous year, so the food forest got a real haircut this year. We cut back some of the treeless zone right back to only branches. We were a little nervous that they wouldn't bounce back, but fortunately the trees created new growth. We also gave the kitchen garden a little chop and drop. For the second round of sheep mulching, we managed to get our hands on a couple of trailer loads of horse manure. We laid a decent amount around the food forest and covered it with a layer of pine needles, wood ash, coffee grounds, paper, and straw. We plan to add as much outside biomass to our system as we can until our system can provide for itself. This year we sandwiched the chop and drop between 2 layers of sheep mulching. Not sure if that is the best idea or not. Our thinking is that the chop and drop biomass will stay damp, allowing it to break down faster. The plan is to do a more dense planting strategy in the food forest at some point, planting ground covers and shrubs, once we have worked out what would work best in our climate. While busy in the food forest, the grass grew a lot in the veggie garden around the veggie beds, and the clay became compacted, so filling in the trenches became a little bit of a challenge, but a necessary step to tidy up the space and with spring on its way, to be able to mow the area and add the grass to the compost. July was all about preparing for the honey season. We had a leftover frame from the previous season which we gifted back to the bees. We rendered all the honeycomb from the previous season into a beautiful block of wax that we will make into candles and other products for sale at markets and online. In order to sell more honey at markets, we've expanded our apiary with 5 new hives. I needed to order a bunch of new hives and accessories and have been busy assembling them over winter. They are currently sitting next to the hives waiting for warmer weather to split the hives. Let's hope we get the hive splits right. Stay tuned for that video in the future. Plus we upgraded to an electric honey extractor to keep up with the increased workload. Now if I can assemble this without losing any screws or nuts into the extractor, it'll be a miracle. Okay, first spin test. Excellent. Will definitely need to be bolted down. So the sun comes up there in winter and it basically does an arc like that. Potentially in here could be good. So from 5 o'clock onwards, that's red, that's just like ridiculously hot.
Yeah.
From 5 o'clock onwards, it's going to be shaded by that. Alright. This is our spot. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I reckon I've got it. Thank you, summer camp. So here's our foundation, our base. So hopefully that will fit 5 hives. And here is their water source. I have a feeling that we're going to attract a lot of kangaroos, but whatever. Pre-spring prompts us to set up new earwig traps. In past years, we've had huge amounts of them. They eat baby annual plants and new fruit tree leaves, a real pest. Soy sauce and any kind of vegetable, olive canola oil. We use vegetable oil. Just get any old container with a lid. Put about maybe a couple of centimetres of oil. I use one of these soy sauces, just a couple of good squirts. Put the lid on.
You just leave it open on one side so that the rain doesn't dilute it.
We put the traps out before the warmer spring weather when they come out at night to eat.
Usually find a suitable stick, something like that. So stick it in.
So far it looks like we might have them under control this year. Any earwigs we catch go into our hot compost. We have had a problem with leaf curl on some of our fruit trees. This year we managed to get out there before the new buds flowered and sprayed them with lime sulfur. Our focus in the coming months will be the upgrading of the kitchen garden.
I guess now that we've been doing this a little while, at least part-time, we've been doing it long enough to start to notice the mistakes I've made. And one of them is not planting the water first in many areas of our garden. And what that has meant is we've tried to hand water everything, and it's worn my body out. It hasn't worked. So I've had to, I guess, face a fear, which was to do irrigation, drip irrigation, all of that, and using pumps and so on, which I was kind of scared to do, to be honest. But I've had to face that fear, and this is one area that I'm having to fix. I put these wicking beds in. I used this type of black plastic, and the kind of rock that I used meant that eventually the rock, a piece of rock perforated the plastic and it drips. Anyway, we bought some IBC tanks to use in place of these, and then what I'll do is I'll drip irrigate everything in this family garden. We can spend our time doing other things other than watering. So what I'll do at the moment, I've got that pump in the back, and what I'll do is I'll also rig it up so that we can drip irrigate this whole area.
Before that though, we have been upgrading our herb spiral design. The reason being, we think that the width of the spiral was too narrow and our water system not adequate, causing soil to dry out in hot weather.
So what I've done is I've removed a row of bricks, I should say, to extend the width of the bed. Plus I'm going to put some drip irrigation in as well, that will get a better result out of the herb spiral. Rosemary has done well here, and the bees are just enjoying getting the nectar from the flowers, which is really cool.
It looks less like a herb spiral now and more like a raised garden bed, but whatever works. We can't wait to see how it turns out. If you're interested in what we sell, check out our website. Screenshot this QR code or click the link in the description. We're in what we call pre-spring, where everything starts growing again. I'll leave you with some beautiful shots of the flowers blooming and new growth in our garden. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified of our upcoming videos. See you in another video.